said to me, well, what would happen? Like, God forbid, your husband passes away, but you remarry. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. 40 years with one guy, I molded him to be the man I wanted. Do you know what I mean? I'm good being single. I have Cabernet and a rabbit. Just checking who knew about the rabbit. All right, just checking. The men have no idea what I'm talking about. They're like, is she talking about bugs? What's going on?
Some people have suggested that I try one of these dating websites. Well, all these websites act the same way, right? They make you fill out a questionnaire, right? They try to match you up with what you have in common with another person, right? You're all smart people. You don't need a website to tell you if you have something in common. So I say, match people up by what's wrong with them. Right? It's a much more efficient way to do it. Like, I'll give you an example. You match up, say, the anorexics, match them up with the compulsive eaters. I mean, think about it. It's like, you going to eat that? No, here, you can have it. I love you. I love you. Or you match up the guys with erectile dysfunction, match them up with the vaginal dryness women. My thing was like, you feel like doing it tonight? Well, I do, but I can't. Neither can I. I love you. I love you.
Hello, and aloha, and howdy, and hi, everybody. This is Shelly Coleman, and this is the Funny Women of a Certain Age podcast. We are back for episode 4, and I swear to God, by the next episode, I'm going to have a klaxon or a sound effect or something to celebrate the episode number. What you just heard was Carole Montgomery and our guest, our very special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm round of applause for Ms. Julia Scotti.
Yay!
I told you,
Julia, say hello.
you should have brought her on as award-winning actress.
Award-winning.
Multi-award winning.
Multi-award winning.
Crap. All right, here we go.
Yes, she's a big...
Well, you know what? I guess that fits, though, because so far we have had honorifics for everyone. Carole is Your Grace. Leanne was Your Majesty. Liz Glazer was Your Honor. And I guess you're going to have to be the multi-award winning Julia Scotti.
Well, one of those awards is right behind me. I don't know if you could see the big hand behind me.
Oh, look at this. First of all, this isn't
video.
It's not video, so fuck.
Oh, it's not video? Oh, I thought it. Oh.
Yeah. So, Miss.
So you can take down the fake awards, Julia.
So why did I wear a bra then if it's not video?
I wasn't going to ask.
Yeah. I'm not wearing one.
Okay. We have just officially crossed into TMI. And Julia, you can take the fake awards off the wall now. It's really not worth your.
No, there's only that one statue. It's my Showtime Funniest Person in New Jersey award, which I won back in.
Oh, yeah. that was a long time ago.
Was that
1984? I think 1983 or something like that.
Wow.
Then those don't expire?
They don't. They last. Well, the name on the plate does because it's got my old name on it.
But so it's not like every year there's a new funniest person. You are the funniest person in New Jersey forever.
And in perpetuity. Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody else.
You know how like Bruce is the rock and roll god, Julia is the comedy person in New
Jersey. Speaking of Bruce, did you see the picture of Bruce the other day? He was at a little town right by Point Pleasant. He was just on the hanging out on the beach. But everybody has a Bruce sighting around here. Sooner or later, you'll see Bruce somewhere. But there were two little kids, like 9-10 years old, and he was nice enough to stop and take pictures with them. I mean, he says he's a good guy, Bruce.
He is.
Well, maybe we should have him on instead.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me call him. Hold on. Let me call him.
Can we swear on this thing?
You can do whatever
Absolutely.
you want.
Say whatever you want.
Oh, fuck the both of you then.
Like no, they were
that's
saying
not why we're here today, is it?
It isn't?
No, I thought we were here to talk about me.
Oh, right. I forgot. Okay, sorry. We can just edit all of that out. Don't even worry about it. We won't even. You know what? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to edit Carole and me completely out,
Okay.
so it will
Yeah,
sound
that's
like
good. I
you
like
are
that.
answering
And I'll
questions out of
just-
your own mind. So
Sure.
you mentioned you were going to stir your sauce, which I thought. Now in northern Jersey it's gravy, and in southern Jersey it's sauce.
Oh no! It's in the Bronx. It's sauce. My grandmother called it sauce.
All right.
Everybody in my family called it sauce. It's sauce.
Fine, it's sauce. Don't get mad at me. I'm just trying to straighten it out for our vast audience. So I'm going to assume then that you are an Italian food aficionado.
I don't know about aficionado, but I make Sunday sauce, which is the sauce with the meatballs and the sausage and the pork rib, and it cooks like 4 or 5 hours, and it's just great. I make
Okay.
it periodically. It's a lot of work and it's a lot of money, so I don't make it often.
It costs a lot of money to make.
Well, the meat costs money. Have you seen meat?
No,
You don't eat meat?
I don't cook meat. It's too hard. I barely cook at all.
Oh, well, then you should come down for meat. My sauce. Just bring some good bread from Brooklyn.
All right. Carole, you want to come? Carole, wait a minute.
This is what
Can
happens,
everybody hear me?
ladies and gents, when old people use technology. Jesus.
I have a birthday coming up this weekend, so I
Happy
think this
birthday.
is the
How old
do
will you
it.
be, Shelly?
640, I think, if I remember correctly.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
So
yeah,
you're the baby. You're the baby on this show, then.
I guess so. Yeah. Today I am.
Well, I know how old Carole is. And
Uh-huh.
I know how old I am.
Everybody knows how old
You're
you are, Julia.
71, right? You're
72.
72.
Yeah.
Okay, now everybody knows how old you are.
Well,
I'm 66.
When was your birthday?
April 19th.
Did I wish you a happy birthday?
Of course you wished me a happy birthday. You
Oh,
also said you'd give me money. You never sent it.
I gotta send her money.
Is that how that works?
I put a $5 bill in an envelope for her.
He does. He's so good to me. With a card.
And tell her to go get ice cream.
Aw.
I can't send her anything because I don't know where she lives, because she's never had me at her house after knowing her for 40 years.
Okay, well, that situation's going to change soon, so I can have
know.
people over. So that
So I can sleep over? Can I sleep over?
Sure, you can sleep over. Peanut would love having you sleep over. You can Peanut will jump on you and give you kisses and growl at you.
That'll be the
Okay,
most action I've done.
Just for clarity, Peanut is a dog.
You had to ruin the moment, didn't you?
Maybe. You don't know. And Peanut, like you talk about meat, you got some meat of that sauce on your shirt. She'll be your friend forever.
You see the hats? Oh, you can't see the hats because we're not on
Yeah,
video.
I see the hats.
But
the
it's
audience-
meaningless to anybody listening because they're going to go, what hats?
Right.
This sucks.
You can go. You can split at any time, miss.
No, I
I mean,
said people who want to see the hats. They can't see that.
No,
Look, now she's throwing me off. I was just saying.
Wow.
You said, all right, come on. Let's go.
Oh. Ooh.
Brooklyn all up in this piece, yo. I don't take nothing.
Wow.
My spinal stimulator just went off.
Good. Glad to hear it. Hi, Faye. All right, we've gone off the rails. So
Okay.
I got a silly question for you, Julia.
Sure.
First of all, are you a big pizza fan?
I love pizza, sure. Yeah.
Do you have any particular pizza that you like?
You mean from a rrestaurant? Or
No.
from
Anything like any toppings in particular? that
Oh,
you like?
I'm a purist. I like margarita, but a meatball or sausage is fine with me, or anchovies. I like or mushrooms.
Okay.
Ew.
Okay. You don't like anchovies, Carole?
Oh, I hate anchovies.
Okay, no anchovies. No anchovies on Carole's pizza.
I like
So
mushrooms,
Julia,
but so this is how weird I am. I like mushrooms, but I like the canned mushrooms on the
yeah, that's
pizza.
weird.
I don't like fresh.
Yeah, that is a little weird. Yeah.
It is. Oh no, since I was a little girl, I've loved canned mushrooms. I like regular fresh mushrooms too, but on pizza, if they've got canned mushrooms, I'm like, give me the whole pot.
I cook a lot, and when I cook certain fish things, like if I make spaghetti with white clam sauce, And a lot of restaurants do this. They use anchovies. You may have eaten them, don't even know it, because they dissolve when you cook them in olive oil.
Oh, okay. And I love white clam sauce. Why did you ruin
But you can't tell that. You can't tell they're in there. But they add a nice flavor to it.
A nice zing. It gives a
A
little zip.
zing.
A little zing.
little
Let's
zing?
put a zing in there.
So Julia, here's a silly question. Which is worse, pineapple on pizza or open heart surgery?
Wow, that's a hard one.
Yeah.
I've had both,
Yeah.
and I'd have to say pineapple on pizza.
Wow.
Yep.
It's a disgraziad, as we like to say in who would do a thing like that? That's a heinous act against humanity. Putting
There are
pizza.
some people that do it.
Is it because it's easier to recuperate from the open heart surgery?
Mentally, you know, the weep when you eat it. When you see a pizza that has pineapple on it, you weep and gnash your teeth, and you know.
And you know that person is not from the East Coast.
No.
Oh, is that it? Is that a California
I
thing?
think that's a California thing.
They don't even deserve to be in America if you're going to do that. I'm serious.
You know.
Wait, you mean California, or you mean people who put pineapple on pizza?
People who put pineapple on pizza, yeah, they should be in Hawaii someplace.
Right.
Where they
I
can't.
mind being in Hawaii.
Do you like pineapple on pizza?
I've never had it, but I do like Hawaii and I do like pineapple. So, you know, if those two things are required, if you have to eat pineapple on pizza to live in Hawaii, I might do it.
I love pineapple. In fact, I have a pineapple corer, and it's so groovy because you put it in the top, right, and you just screw it down, and then you just pull out this. There's something very sensual about that. I actually get turned on.
Okay,
Don't
so
ask
maybe
me why.
we should stop the show now and let Julia have a moment. But another thing about pineapple, when every so often I'll lose my voice. I know that's a shock, but I've had it happen like when I've been on the road, and the only thing that really helps is eating pineapple.
From a can or fresh?
It doesn't matter, but there's some, I forget what.
Yeah, there's something in it. I know what you're talking about. Well, I'll remember that in case we ever have an emergency with you on the road.
Yes.
Although that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, well, let's not give it a kin of horror, as we like to say from my people. We don't want to.
So in your emergency go bag, Carole, there's always a can of pineapple.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Good to know. And that's also useful in case you need to, you know, bash a zombie over the head or something. Just swing the bag with the pineapple in it and bam.
We had to do that in Florida, didn't we? Bash a zombie over the head.
Hey, listen, interesting political news. Kamala is up 15 points in Dade County.
No.
Yep.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, Florida could turn blue this election. I would be thrilled to no end. Somebody mentioned that on I think it was on Morning Joe this morning that was a possibility, and I go, that's not a possibility. That's never going to happen. That's great news. There's a lot.
I think the only way to turn Florida blue really is to cut off their oxygen. Now, to all of our listeners and friends in Florida, we don't mean you. We mean the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
We'll give you a little oxygen mask. Yeah, exactly.
We mean them.
The rest of the people who aren't our listeners and friends, of course.
No couch humpers listen to this show.
No couch humpers. No.
Well, at this point, I don't know that would be a bad thing. I think all the numbers we can get, kids. All the numbers.
I guess you're right. That's true. I like the deer walking across my street.
Aww.
Yeah. The babies were out this morning. I live in a rural area, for those of you who
I hope so.
Well, yeah. Oh, there's the babies. They're with mom and dad, and the dad is there. He's not usually there.
Isn't that always the case?
Shelly,
yeah.
She's looking away as if she's looking out the window. She's not. She's delusional.
My imaginary...
She has. Some people have imaginary friends. She has an imaginary deer.
We're all from the city. I was originally from the city, so I'm going to throw this out to you. Did you or did you not think that Bambi was a girl?
I thought Bambi was a girl. Is Bambi
I don't
not
think
a girl?
I gave it any thought, really.
Is Bambi not a girl?
Bambi's a boy. Who names their kid Bambi?
Who names
That's
their
what they
kid
do out in the woods.
Wilkes?
See, that's an inside joke.
Well, Julia and I did a play together, and that was a line about John Wilkes Booth. So
Right.
So
we've provided context right there, Shelly.
Yes, we did.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So, Julia, are you first generation Italian?
Second. My grandfather came here. That would make me second, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. My grandfather, both of my grandparents came from there.
From Italy?
From the same area in Italy?
Yeah, both grandfathers. My grandmothers were born here.
What part of Italy?
My paternal grandfather is from the island of Ischia, which is right off the coast of Naples. So we are, by nature, Napolitan. And my paternal grandfather is from the other coast, the east coast, the Adriatic side, from a village called Popoli, which accounts for my Albanian blood.
Isn't that where the Pope is from?
I don't even know who the Pope is. Who's the Pope?
That's where they make them, right? In Popoli?
Oh, yes, Popoli. Little popes they make. Little Popoli. Popolino. Popolino.
No, Julia is very Italian.
Okay. So when you did America's Got Talent, you famously dropped, as they say on broadcast TV, the F-bomb.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious, did you learn to swear in Italian or in English first?
I came out of my mother swearing.
In Italian?
Well, both. I mean, you pick up a lot on the street. You pick up a lot from family. Italians are very vocal. So my American swearing came from the streets, and my Italian swearing came from my family.
So you could just flip back and forth, bilingual swearing.
Yeah, but you know what? European swearing is very creative. I mean, they don't just go, "Hey, fuck you." They go, "May your mother become infested with, flies from a rotting corpse of a deer that got hit by a truck." I mean,
wow.
They really are creative with their swearing. Yeah, it means a lot over there.
I'm sure. I actually had a book. It's called Merda, and it's how to swear in Italian. And I don't remember any of it except the translation of something you could say to somebody when you really want to turn them on. Apparently, is I want to have you for dessert at midnight. I want to eat you for dessert at midnight. Something like that.
Ooh,
yeah.
Sorry.
Going again, huh?
Ooh, yeah. How would that try? I want to eat you for dessert at midnight. Ti voglio mangiare. No, I think la dessert. I don't know what that's called. Mezzanotte. So there'll be something like that. Yeah. They are very creative. Yeah, they are. What's happened is the words have gotten bastardized, over the generations in this country. Like everybody says fangul, which means fuck you, but it's actually va fancola.
Which means go get fucked, right?
Well, Well, put it up your ass, basically. If that's what it means.
I do insist on clarity.
Can I tell
you his ass?
Can I tell you a story about cursing?
Yeah,
please.
Okay, so
I'm sure you could.
Because when you were asking Julia, she cursed first, and she said she came out of her womb. So I was very young when I learned the word fuck, but I didn't know what it meant. And I'm going to say 7 or 8 years old, but I would say it all the time. So I would just be like, "Are the fish fucking, Mom? Are the,
what were you doing? Fish fucking?"
I would ask my parents. I would use the word. Well, are the fish fucking? I didn't know what it was. And so one time the door was closed and I kept knocking on the door. "Are you guys fucking in there?" So shocking that I continue to use that word. It's my favorite word.
It's the greatest word ever invented in any language. It's just however it evolved. It's a magnificent word.
It is.
I think the shocking thing, Carole, is that your parents let you continue to live in the house. That's what
Shelly, the the use of the word on AGT was I had an alternate line for that joke written for television, and just before I went out, the producers, who are British, his name was Nigel.
Of course was.
Of course he was. But backstage, and he goes, "So are you going to say it, Juliet?" And I was like, "I don't think so." He goes, "Trust me, they'll love it." And I'm like, "No, that's my career on the line there." And he goes, "Trust me." So I got out there, and I was I got to the line, and I'm going, "What should I do it? Should I not do it?" And I thought, Nigel's been on this show for 11 years. He knows better. So I dropped it. The place obviously went wild. So I was like, and so I wanted to tag it with "fucking A," but I didn't. Decided not to.
So now, because I am not technologically gifted, I am not trying to figure out how to link that video to this podcast. But I will say, anybody listening who wants to see it, it is on YouTube, right, Julia?
Yeah, they pixelated my my filthy mouth. Yeah,
because it would be really hard to figure out what you're saying, I'm sure.
Yes.
So anybody who wants to see that can go to Julia Scotti's YouTube channel, which is just Julia Scotti, right?
I believe so. I don't go there very often. Every now and then I'll Google myself to see if I'm still alive.
That makes your spine go woohoo, also, doesn't it?
Speaking of still alive, we just lost a fellow comic. Did you hear that, Carol?
Yeah, Angel
Salazar. Do you know him, Shelly? Did you know him? Oh.
No.
He's from he's from our generation.
Yeah, well, she's from our generation too. I mean,
chronologically I am, but comedically I'm not. Comedically, okay. I know all of the kids, but
like anchovies. They're all anchovies. Just substitute the word.
Greasy.
Honestly, the first time I ever heard anyone say, and he said it directly to me, "I'm going to smash that pussy." It was a kid who was maybe in his mid-20s. And I did not know what he meant, because to me,
he was talking about your.
Yeah.
And that person grew up to be president. Isn't that something? Huh? No.
Oh Lord, please no. But the strange thing was that first of all, he was wildly drunk. Secondly, I didn't know that he was coming on to me. And then when I found out, I thought, well, okay, so what is the woman's equivalent of that? And I thought, okay, well, I guess maybe I'm gonna freeze that dick with liquid nitrogen and then shatter it with a bolt.
Take a hammer and just.
Exactly. And is that hot? I don't get it. I
talk about that with guys, in my act, about how guys get all up in my face about transitioning, and I say, guys are really sensitive about their junk, which kind of confuses me, because if it's that important to them, why do they call it junk?
But that doesn't explain why they're always holding on to it.
I don't know. I got rid of my junk. I threw it out with the recycling.
Trash. Yeah. You recycled it.
I recycled it. Yes, I did.
Does that go with glass or plastic or metal, or where does that go?
It goes in the compost.
Carole,
yes.
Carole, I want to ask you, how did the story show go? At QED last time we spoke, you were doing a.
It went really well. QED is such a lovely, lovely space. I teach there. I've done stand up there. I've done solo shows there. We had about 20, 25 people, and for QED, that's a big crowd. I'm trying to challenge myself, because I love my stand up and I love doing it, but I feel like I want to do other things. I have 2 dates at the end of September where I'm going to do my solo show. So I have to do that, because if I don't put it on the calendar, I won't ever do it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'll do it. But now I made myself do that. So it was a nice little prelude to when I'm going to actually do the full solo show. But it went really well.
How is your solo show different from your stand-up?
Okay, so when you're doing a solo show, it's interesting, because I guess we'll call them the anchovies now. So when the anchovies, they're like, "Hey, I'm doing my hour solo show," That's not a solo show. When just because you're standing there by yourself on a mic doing an hour of stand-up, that is not what a solo show / storytelling is. Storytelling is, it has a beginning, middle, and end. There are arcs to it. There are different, you know what I mean? You can do some of your stand-up in a solo show, but it's not the same thing as doing an actual solo show. Stand-up is stand-up, and a solo show is more, there's more poignancy, there's more messaging. It's not joke.
So kind of like a one-act play.
Pretty much.
Okay.
I always tell people, because that's one of the other things I do, is I develop and direct. In fact, I'm working with Julia on her solo show. What I always tell people, if you want to get an idea of what a really great solo show is, Christopher Titus, his first solo show is Norman Rockwell is Bleeding. And that particular show was so well received. That's where he got his sitcom from. He had a show called Titus for a couple of years, but it was based on what he talked about in his solo show.
Brilliant too. Carrie Fisher had a great one too.
Carrie Fisher had a great one.
Yeah, which is available on YouTube. It's
and so is Chris Titus's. I mean, it's
right.
It's I won't give away my favorite part, but there's a part in the show with Chris that he talks about something that was like, it's so you could hear a pin drop, and he makes this statement, and it is so quiet in the venue, and it was like a couple of thousand, and it was just so emotional. And then within 30 seconds, he drops a joke, and it sounded like bombs were going off. The explosion of laughter was so fucking brilliant. And so that to me is what a solo show is. You get them in there, and then, because people, when you're doing stand-up, real stand-up, as opposed to anchovy stand-up, I like that. I like calling them anchovies. Julia's very different about right now because she's doing some stuff that makes people uncomfortable. That's very rare in stand-up. But you have to be really good at doing that type of material. Can't do that. Most people are doing just joke. So when you're doing a solo show, or even like what Julia's doing, she's exploring tougher subjects. You got to really be good at that to be able to pull that off. But because most stand-up, like I said, is most people want to go to a comedy club and sit there and get drunk and just have somebody tell dick jokes, which is why I am so popular.
People see you, Carole, and they want to get drunk.
They want to get drunk.
But from a performing standpoint, for me, doing that stuff is very, very liberating. The fact that I can pull it, and any stand-up, but you really have to know your shit, I think, to do that kind of stuff, like what Titus does. I'm moving more towards that.
I'm telling you, the new stuff that Julia is talking about is topics that people don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
In stand-up, and really, what Julia's doing is getting ready to do her solo show. So.
Yeah, I mean, I did a show over the weekend up in a very red area, and it was at a country club, and it was very sparsely attended. Let's put it that way.
Binky and Muffy couldn't make it.
No, not one. Actually, the people who did come were not members of the country club. They were all outside. They were all civilians from outside, right? But there's this one guy who sat like this the whole time. And when I did, I do talk about being trans in my act. His face just, you could see the red, the veins starting to come out. And I said, it's not contagious. Calm down. I'm not gonna. There are no kids here that I can convert. So
he was probably worried that you were going to out him.
It started out, I told him he looked like Tim Waltz, which he did. And he got all pissed off at me, like, "Oh, I don't fucking Tim Waltz." I'm like, "Calm down, Jackie." I mean, the guys. Somebody asked me, "Do I get nervous about talking about that stuff in front of crowds like that?" And the answer is, those are the crowds I need to be talking to.
Right.
Yep.
Because the people who understand who I am, they don't need to hear what I'm saying. It's the other ones that need it.
So you're essentially doing a public service.
I don't know if I would go that far, but I feel like I'm.
No, I mean, you're
feel-
doing it for money. It's not like free public service.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give you that. Like a hooker does.
There you go. I
Yeah.
didn't want to say it because I'm a lady.
You had a great story about the religious couple that you had.
I was in Jacksonville, Florida, and
Oh dear.
I did it, huh?
Oh dear.
Well, I did a show there, and it went fairly well. And the next morning, I was having breakfast, and this very dignified African American lady came up to me. And she goes, "I was at your show last night," and I was like, "Oh, I hope you had a good time." She goes, "No, we walked out." I go, "Oh." I go, "I'm sorry if I offended you. I don't think I said anything that was offensive." She goes, "No, no, no. It's just your lifestyle. I'm a minister and my husband's a bishop, And I was like, "Oh, a bishop, excuse me." And she started in about how I was an abomination before the Lord and da 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 da. I go, "Well, maybe if you had listened to my show, you might have seen the humanity in there." I said, "I don't feel like I'm a mistake. I don't feel like I'm slapping God in the face," which I've heard before. I said, "Why don't you sit down and have breakfast with me?" That's what Jesus would have wanted. So
Snap!
so we ate for an hour, and we traded, our views back and forth in a civil way. And I said to her, I said, "What surprises me about you? We're about the same age, so you remember the '60s and the civil rights struggles." I said, I'm surprised that you would be so judgmental of who and what I am when so many people judged who you were and still continue to be at this." And she stopped for a minute. She didn't really change her mind. We parted civilly, but I felt like that was what I was put there to have that conversation with her. And that's kind of what I try to do on stage too.
That's very cool.
Well, but what I love about the story is that they had a civil conversation.
Yes.
The biggest problem in this country right now is that we don't have civil conversations. I remember once in a similar conversation about, I was sitting next to a young man. I was flying somewhere, and we got into, this is, before Roe v. Wade was overturned, and we started talking about it because he was born again and everything. And we talked the entire plane ride about abortion. He was obviously against it, and I was pro. And we had a wonderful conversation about it. And I said, "I understand what I said," and I've said this before. I could never have an abortion. I just, not religious wise, I just couldn't do it. I had my son, when I was 33 years old, and when we were taking all the tests, "Well, what happens if something's wrong?" I said, "I'm still having the child." But I believe in a woman's right to be able to choose. And we had this, it was an amazing conversation. And I remember thinking, we don't do that.
No, we don't.
And even though Julia probably did not change these people's minds, they at least, you got to understand her point of view, and she got to understand your point of view.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of any religion. I didn't say anything bad about her religion, well, I could have, but
that was, if you look at the followings of Jesus, like turning the other cheek, and all that stuff, and taking care of people who don't have who have lesser rights than you. When you talk to, like, there's religious people, and then there's the real religious people. Like, yes. I have friends of ours that they've been best friends because we lived in Vegas together. They're born again Christians, but you know what? They walk the walk. If you believe that, and I mean, they do not judge. I think what's happened is religion in general has been
co-opted.
Huh?
Co-opted?
Co-opted, yes.
I really do. By people that, well, that's not what, like John Fugelsang, who Julia and I have done the show with Shelly. You should do his show sometime. He's on Sirius Radio. He's the son of a monk and a nun.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so I love following him because his stuff about religion, because people come after him all the time, and he's like quoting scripture, and it blows their mind because it's like, you're taking one part of the Bible where it said this, and it doesn't say anything about all the stuff they go, you're like what the woman said to you, you're an abomination. It doesn't say that. There's nothing in the Bible that says that.
Well, I always tell I said I don't think the Bible says anything about being transgender. I mean,
right.
But I could tell you though that in certain cultures that have matured, evolved, that trans people are revered.
Right.
In the Hindu culture, in the Native American culture, we're called two spirits because we possess, some of us possess the wisdom of both genders. I kind of missed that part, but in training.
Actually, I believe it's one of the lesser books of the Bible that does talk about being trans. It's the book of Izzard. Are you familiar with that one?
God bless him. He's just what a trailblazer he's been for people like me. Then there's the other side of the coin, J.K. Rowling and Dame Edna, who thank God is dead because he was a big transphobe.
Really?
By the way, I've appropriated the term TERF now.
Have you?
I have because they pissed me off so much. So TERF now means transgender equal rights fighter.
Oh,
yes. So, so if you ever hear the term TERF, just say, "Are you a Scotti TERF or the other kind?"
Scotti turf. I have that on my lawn.
Scotti
All right.
Scotti turf. That should be your new merch.
I should be, yeah.
Scotti
There
turf.
you go.
Scotti turf.
All right, so let's talk about upcoming stuff. Carole, you're doing your solo show in September. Is that going to be at QED?
No, I'm doing it in two different places. I'm doing a solo, I think it's called Solo Quest, in Flemington, New Jersey. The gentleman that wrote the play that Julia and I were in called You Can't Teach a Fish to Whistle. Joey Novick wrote the play, and he's doing the Solo Show Fest. And then the following day, I'll be at Under St. Mark's, which is the 29th. So the 28th is the Solo Fest, and then the 29th is at Under St. Mark's. And Under St. Mark's is the smaller theater that's run by the same people who used to run the Crane.
Okay. And it's called I Am My Father's Son.
I Am My Father's Son.
All right, cool. Okay, so everybody, you got to keep an eye out for that. We will, of course, be mentioning it every time until and after it happens.
Yes.
And then Julia, you're going to be doing stand-up in Pennsylvania. I think it was
September the 12th in Scottsville, Pennsylvania.
And then Julia and I are doing a Funny Women show in October, I think it is.
Right, yeah, October and December, I think, too, right?
Yeah, October 5th, we're at TIFF's in New Jersey, and then October 6th, we're at Helium in Philadelphia, and they're both matinees.
Oh,
great.
So people of another certain age can get to it and then get home.
My age can get there and get home while it's still daylight.
We do a week run in Delray Beach every year. The show's at 2:00 in the afternoon. We're done at 3:00. We're back in the hotel at 3:30. Julia's like, when are we having dinner? It's almost time. It's 5:00.
Early bird special.
Early bird special. But also my play. I wrote a play that's going to be produced next, actually in April. But I'm very excited about it. It's my first play, and that's called Love in Shades.
I was actually in that play. It's a great play.
Yeah, we did it over COVID. We did a stage reading of it.
So now, is that window shades or like Ray-Bans? What are we talking about?
No, like it has to do with all the different types of love, all different colors of love, shades.
I see.
Not Love Behind the Shades. That's a porno play
that you did at a different life.
Simulated sex. Yes, I don't do that anymore.
You don't do that anymore.
No.
That's probably wise. Although honestly, from what I'm told by the anchovies, there's probably a market for it.
Yeah.
Who knows?
You might be right there. You
Who
might be
knows?
right.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think I have taken up enough of your time, Julia. Thank you very much for being our guest on the Funny Women of a Certain Age podcast. We can't
Thank
see
you.
all take awards and your hats and whatnot. We'll just have to imagine them. And Carole,
Yes, thank you.
As usual, thank you for taking some time out of your day. Give Peanut my best. Julia, do you have any pets?
I had a cat for 12 years, and back in January, I was having some work done here, and she got out, and I haven't seen her since. So, fuck her. That's the way I feel. You think it's better out there? You go out there and see how good it is. Don't come running back to me. That's all I can say.
You never know that. There are always stories of animals that disappear and then show up years later.
I know somebody sent me a picture last week of a cat that looked remarkably like her, and my neighbor up the street loved her too. She goes, "That's not her. She didn't have enough white on her face."
I think actually, Julia, she's living next door. She just doesn't want you to know.
She probably is. Well, if she came back now, I'm like, what? You expect me to just take you back?
Right.
No, those days are gone. That ship has sailed. I got
right.
a life now. I moved on.
There you go. And there's a lesson for us all.
Yes.
Don't hang around and wait for the cat to come back. All right, Julia and Carole, thank you very much. Carole, I will be seeing you pretty soon. In fact, we're doing a show next month. I'm on the Funny Women of a Certain Age show in September.
Yes.
At the
Triad.
Not the Crane, the Triad Theater.
Yes.
And of course, I will be mentioning that every day until it happens. So until then, thank you very much. You guys have a wonderful afternoon, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.
Adieu.
Arrivederci.
Arrivederci. Ciao, baby.
Ciao.